Welcome to a new video, a video interview of the BenCham CIL China initiative. In front of me I have Benoit Stos. Stos, do I say it well?
Stos, yeah.
Stos.
Thanks for this invitation.
Yeah, nice to have you here. Thank you for coming. Yeah, we're gonna have a talk about your experiences in China, and I'm really excited. So let's start off. Can you have a short introduction about yourself?
Yes, so I'm here because I've lived in Guangzhou for many years, more than 12 years. Before that, I was 4 years. I lived 4 years in Beijing with my family. So quite a long time in China. And so after my graduate school of business, I just started 4 years in Paris and then moved to China. And I just say I will go for 3-4 years, and then it's more than 16 years.
16 years already?
Yes.
Okay, what was the reason that you went to China? What was the attractive point?
When I started my business school, they proposed some Chinese courses, and I say, oh, looks good, looks interesting. And at that time, so it was 1996, so quite a long time and not so young. And at that time, we started to speak about China, so I think it sounded interesting to me. So it was more for adventure and just, let's say, okay, we start. And then I came to Guangzhou actually more than 20 years ago and went to Zhongshan University for 1 month and just to improve my Chinese. And then it was quite interesting that 7-8 years later I just live almost in the same street as this university.
Oh really?
Yeah, so quite interesting.
Okay. So was there a personal interest for China, or was it just adventure?
I think more adventure. Maybe I could have chosen Japanese or Indian, or but I think, as I say, we started speaking about China will become a big economy. Also, I'm quite interested by economy, business oriented. So I would say it was some adventure. I feel maybe something will happen here.
Okay. So some expectations of maybe a career or a business coming out. Who knows?
Yes.
Okay. So then it's of course a simple and a normal question to say, like, what kept you in China until now, but I think you answered it already. The business, I think? Yes,
I think business, of course, because I like also this environment. Okay. I think I saw it changing a lot, you know. I came in Beijing before the Olympics, and then saw Beijing transforming, and then I set up for the same accounting firm, I set up an office in Guangzhou, and in 12 years in Guangzhou I saw all the buildings, you know, growing, and the whole city changed a lot. And so I think this was quite exciting. And you know, when you go back to Europe, you're happy to go back, but then you don't feel the same feeling of development. So I actually stay for this environment, also for people, and also because the business went well. Of course, if the business was not so good, I would have came back to Europe.
Logic, right? So to the business, we can go to the business. So what is your business actually doing? What do you do here? What is your company doing in the wide range?
My focus is on accounting, tax, advisory. So for 16 years I've assisted companies to set up in China. I think we can discuss about this.
We will.
Also practical recommendation to entrepreneurs how they need to handle the business. And of course it has changed. I don't say the same thing as 16 years ago. You know? Yes.
But it is funded with a lot of experience of 60 years, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what are your main clients? Where do they come from?
Mainly European clients. As you know in the introduction, I'm French, but I also very active in the European community. And so, you know, as an advisor here is bit difficult to go and to tell a Chinese company what they need to do in China, you know. So it's more difficult. I think there are some needs maybe when they go outside, but now my focus is in China. So my focus is on European businesses. So of course can be Dutch, Belgium businesses, and helping them to run properly the business in China and give some recommendation.
Okay, interesting. So the name of the company is Stos Advisory, right?
Yes, Stos Advisory.
Okay, so you have 16 years experience of running a business, right, here in China, and so that means you have a lot of knowledge. So what are in your eyes the pros and cons of operating a business here in China?
Okay, so first we all know it's not that easy. So sometimes some maybe entrepreneur or young student arrives and say, "Oh, I will become rich in China." So this is very difficult but there are so many opportunities, and we know that in many fields. It can be high tech, but not only high tech, also trading company. Is a lot of trading company here. So I say many opportunities, but not easy. So first is people need to come to have a long-term plan when they arrive here. If you just want to make profit and money in a short period, it's quite difficult. So we say opportunities are here. Pros and cons is you need to be careful, do it in the proper way. And as I say, I don't say the same 16 years ago, and now maybe it's not true. But 16 years ago, when we say something, oh, you need to be compliant, you need to do that, people say yes, I know, but nobody's doing. Okay, but now it's quite different. So when we say that, they know there is a pressure from government, etc. So also it's more the business environment is well. So foreign companies are welcome, but it's not as business friendly as I don't know some other countries where it's maybe easier to set up company, taxes are easier, transfer money, etc. So all this you need to know in China. There are some control, and there are some reason for this control, and you need to understand, you need to respect it, and to do business. Then you can benefit from this huge market.
Huge.
Yes.
Okay, so a clear pro would be there are lots of opportunities, right? Cons is that it, of course, not really easy, and that in comparison with 16 years ago, that a con is actually that the regulation and the compliance really need to be in this generation of companies.
Yes.
Okay, so what would be an issue? What would be 16 years ago, maybe 10 years ago? What would not be an issue, and which is an issue now?
Okay, so as I say, yes, so Chinese regulation has set up many rules, and now need to be applied. So it used to be 16 years ago, many companies has double set of books. They prepare this for tax bureau, and they have different figures in reality. So it was quite common. Also on many things like social contributions, they were not well paid by companies. So I don't speak foreign or Chinese, I would say all in this environment.
So just to be a little bit to the point, that our social securities need to be paid for workers, right?
Yes, for workers. So it's actually it's like in Europe.
Normally they would not pay it, but now you really need to pay it.
Yes, or you play a bit with the basis of declaration, and so you can always lower a bit. Some company did like this. It's not. Is still the case for some businesses, and so we see today there are stronger regulation. In the same, in parallel, there are some decrease. We go towards a decrease of this rate of contribution, also for taxes. And just recently there was some big news to say, okay, for small businesses, tax there will be some tax cuts, reduction of taxes, like for small enterprise with profit less than 1 million. The profit will be decreased to 5% enterprise income
1
tax.
million RMB, right?
5%, 1 million RMB profit. And so from 1 million to 3 million profit will be reduced to 10% enterprise income tax. So I think it's good to also to highlight it, because in Europe you think maybe, it's high taxes, or you have no idea, or you just see that normal rate is 25, which is lower than what we have in Europe, in some countries.
Sure.
But change to 5%, so means Chinese government try to attract also and to develop small enterprise. So I think this we need to. So it's more compliance, but also
more
easier. So it push maybe all these businesses that were not fully compliant. They say, okay, now we can put everything in order. And this is important to reduce the risk for the company. Also important if you want to sell your business or have an investor. You know, if the investor comes and say, you have not declared properly for 10 years. I don't want to invest in this company.
What do we need to buy?
So I think that's some key point, and this is a trend.
Okay, clear. It's really true. The regulations now, really eased, or the taxes are really downfolded with a certain numerous amount.
Yes.
But then the enforcement is then scaled up, right? Of the compliance and the regulation.
Yes.
Okay, good. So your company is doing, of course, about 3 main subjects, right? 3 main sectors, which is HR, human resources, financial and accounting and taxation, right?
Yes.
So operating a business in China with HR, I have a lot of experience already with employees, but can you tell us something about what issues will you find when you're recruiting Chinese employees and to manage them also?
So I run an advisory company, so I would say we recruit some profiles, with some high education. Some went to Europe for study. Some come from very good university, from a Chinese university. I think the level is very high also. So I think it's this kind of profile. I think it's a way to find this kind of profile, because many had this high education. Then you need to find the right people who are ready to be part of your project. I think it's a bit different maybe in other area. Here in Guangdong province, you have also a lot of workers, and you need to attract them to these cities, because they come from far away. It's not always easy to find. So I would say it's different profile, but you have many every year many junior coming to the market. So I think this is okay. Then the main question will be to train people so that they grow up with the company. So you have some skills here. Okay. So one point on the language, I think, is you need Chinese people to run business in China. This is quite basic.
Of course. Some issues which I normally find with recruiting Chinese employees is that actually the market is really beneficial for job seekers. So good employees are rare to find in any country, but here sometimes also because the human resource market is not really open. It's really closed, with like job platforms being closed, and it's not like how we know it in Europe, right? So maybe it is more difficult also to find the right people for the right project, even though you have a lot of new junior, fresh graduates from high educations.
Yes, you need to attract. People with experience are more difficult to find. And also to find the right remuneration, etc., that can attract them. I don't know if it's more difficult than in Europe, etc., but you need to use different channels. You cannot just post. You have big platform, Job 51, or if you post one offer, you can receive 50,000 CVs. So
depends on the salary, for
so,
example.
yeah.
Okay.
So then you need to use different ways, and then you can use Job Hunters, the Chamber of Commerce, also on LinkedIn, on this kind of platform you can use. But then it's because you want someone speaking English in this environment with maybe management level.
Yeah.
But if you want, I don't know, a technical guy in chemical, I don't think he posts something on LinkedIn.
No.
So as foreigners, maybe it's more difficult to find.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean there is not this guy somewhere.
Yeah.
But China is big, so you need to find different ways.
So it is really, if you really need to look for the source of the kind of people you're looking for. So there's not really purpose to look in general for certain positions, but if you have a position, look up the specific source. Is that your message?
Yes. And in practice also, when you know your business, you run for 10 years, people know each other also in competitors, so it's quite fast. And you see in many companies, the manager come from one of the competitors, or it's quite...
That's normal.
I think it's so normal in business.
Yeah, no, it's normal.
Yes.
It's normal. Okay. And on the financials, financial part, what are clear issues found on that part, on the financials, by companies coming here to China?
Okay. I think, as I say, sometimes companies adopt a bit easily some local practice, which are not the regulation. Because the regulation is, let's say, is quite close to what we have in Europe. You need to a balance sheet or profit and loss account is quite similar, we say, to in Europe. I don't go to detail, but it's basically same principle. So then the practice is a bit different, and one key point is the FAPIAO system. So it's controlling the invoicing.
For anyone who don't know the FAPIAO system, because I think a lot will know, but a lot will not know. So what is the FAPIAO system, and what is the difficulty of the FAPIAO system compared to the European system?
I would say this is the control of all invoice issued by the company to their clients, and a control that what you declare from one side can be deducted from the other side. So it's a control with a specific FAPIAO issued under the system of the tax bureau that allow the tax authorities to ensure that you issue from one side and the other part can deduct what has been invoiced. So this is key because it's, of course, it avoids black transaction, etc. And so if you want to you buy something, if you don't get a FAPIAO, a tax invoice, you are not able to deduct it from your enterprise.
You cannot book it, right?
Or you book it without deducting it. But
officially,
you cannot deduct it. So you need to have to pay tax on. You need to exclude this part when you pay taxes.
So just to be a little bit summarized, if you don't get a FAPIAO from the counterparty, you cannot book it officially. Then you need to start creative bookkeeping in this case. So if the other party is not willing to give you a FAPIAO, and that is maybe the issue mostly, right?
Yes. So this is a key issue, and then so it creates sometimes accounting to say, okay, till I don't have this FAPIAO, I don't book it. So this is a practice, and sometimes if it takes 6 months, then they wait for 6 months, etc. Or if they don't get it, as you say, they don't book it. So it creates some distortion in the preparation of the books. But principle, as I say, should be the same. So normally, even if you did not get it now, you can still book it pending this FAPIAO. This is important for new businesses. If you have entrepreneur, of course, if it's 10 yuan taxi, maybe not a big issue. But I don't know, you sign a new contract with the owner, or you will rent a space. They will say, okay, yes, we we agree on 20,000 a month, and then later you say, oh, can you give me the Fabio? You say, oh, you did not tell me, so should be more than 20,000. They will increase, etc. So this need to be very clear, and this is also when you start business, you will have to issue your own Fabio for your clients, because the client, they won't pay without this. So means if you take 6 months to issue, because you did not properly register your company, because you did not do what you have to do at the tax bureau, then you don't issue it, and then the client don't pay. So it's really important. This process is really key.
Okay. Yeah, no, indeed. So Stos Advisory can help with that, right?
Yes, of course.
No, yeah, it is. Fabio is really, it is, if you are going blank in it from experience, if you go blank into the Fabio system, you need someone like you to, to guide you the right road. Otherwise, it's going to be really a jungle at the end to get it all together.
Yes.
So especially because the regulations are now more enforced, right?
Yes.
So okay. So on the financial side also, what are the financial chances that China has to offer?
And if you have a clever new idea on the market, I believe there are funds here can invest. We always say Europe is not helping enough, or for big needs is difficult in Europe maybe to find the funds, and many go to US or to find this. And in China, I would say this also. You have big size projects, so maybe you can find funds here. But I would say it's not easy for foreigners. So there are some tech companies developing. You can find partnership. I think some project I saw partnership also with foreign companies, or you have foreign funds investing in China, maybe interested also to help. So if you just look for subsidy, if you are a very small company, I think it's difficult. Also for the tax losses, normally in China you can use for 5 years. The tax, when you do a tax loss 1 year, you can use it, reduce your income tax for the next year. So for high tech and small companies, small high tech company, you can extend to 10 years period. So they are doing, there are some measures to help. Then I won't say it's still easy, and others, I know Hong Kong, they also have some R&D center or subsidize some. So I think don't come just for getting subsidy to develop your business. But then also, as there is this environment of tech, Shenzhen, for instance, huge, you can find profile that have this, that can develop also APP application or this. So I think this also you come for to find the right people. I think in this tech.
But there are facilities for smaller startups to still benefit from a lot of measures that the Chinese government and state-owned enterprises give, right?
Yes,
and,
yes.
Okay, so you say like, okay, don't come only for the funding, right? Not for the subsidies, but also come for the market. Like if this is your market, then make use of the financial facilities in that sector. But if they are only for the funding, then just better oversee the other options in this case.
And come also here to find new ideas, maybe, because you see what has been done here. Maybe there are some good ideas to take also and to develop. In Europe, you see it's going very fast, and when you go back to Europe, sometimes you see people, still using cash, and even if some tools are developing, but when you have a gap, so you have some good idea to take from China, I think.
No, I also personally feel that China has a good or great influence on your brain regarding new ideas and developments. So I always advise any business develop position, go to China for a period and then go with the same speed back to Europe and try to develop there in the same phase. Then great things will come out. Okay, and we talked about already about accounting and taxation. So because lots of companies they are doubting about if it is still more beneficial to set up a Hong Kong limited for their company structure if they have activities in China, or if there are already new policies, new regulations that it might be more beneficial to set up an entity on mainland to base their structure on that entity.
Okay. So this you need to look at your business, what you will do, how you will develop in the future. So what is your business plan in China? So if you want just to buy from Chinese supplier, you don't need a team to be here to supervise it. Then you can do either buy directly from Netherlands, Belgium. You can buy directly from Chinese supplier, or you can go through Hong Kong if you want to centralize maybe purchase. If you purchase from different country, you want to develop a hub, Asian hub, maybe where you will buy from different countries. Or you can set up, if you need a team to supervise selecting the selection of suppliers and quality control, etc. You need a minimum, could be a representative office, representative office of Hong Kong company, or directly of the Dutch company, for instance. But this is a minimum structure. But with this, you can't invoice, you can't even invite someone to come to China. It's difficult to issue a paper under the rep office. Importing a sample is difficult, etc. So the trend is to have a full a normal company, a wholly owned foreign enterprise, 100% held by a foreign company. So this is a trend. And with this, you can invoice, you can pay overseas, etc. So I think this is a trend, but you don't set up if you don't expect good operation. If you set up to do a very limited business, it's not worth. So then, if you have the structure in China, then one question is: do you do it directly or through Hong Kong? If it's just to benefit from tax reduction, this scheme can be challenged. So, and the new tax treaty with most of the country, like there is when you pay dividend, they used to. The normal rate was 10%, but now reduced to 5% with most of
on
the
China
country.
side.
China to Netherlands, but China to Hong Kong is also 5%. Okay. So there was some reason before was 10% from one side and 5% to Hong Kong. There was some reason to go through Hong Kong, but for this reason, it's no more the case. Okay. So you need to consider other things. Of course, when you enter China, the flow payment under control. So if you, as I say, if you want to import China some goods, I don't know, from Japan, and then re-export to Netherlands, maybe it's more complicated than going just to have a logistic platform in Hong Kong. So Hong Kong is business friendly, easier for some flows. Also,
but it depends on your business structure, your goals, and your business model, right?
Yes. So I have many clients also investing directly, and it can work also well. It's simplified. Because if you have Hong Kong company, you also need to file, prepare accounting. So if you go directly, it's simplified. So you need to consider your business.
That's maybe something, because before everyone would think like Hong Kong would be the most simplified. However, now with the new substance that is required and all the obligations that come along with that, then China would be a direct line, would be maybe even more simplified.
Yes. And you heard maybe recently you have many bank accounts in Hong Kong were blocked. Because they asked for some information from the management, and many people were surprised, because it used to be you open very easy a company in Hong Kong, you open bank account. Just to set up a bank account, I didn't speak about it, but in Hong Kong takes several weeks or months to
Depends
set up.
on the bank,
Depends on the bank, but it's because it used to be very quick.
Yeah.
So then you need to show what you will do, which business, etc.
Yeah.
So this is changing, and so people reconsider a bit Hong Kong to say, okay, I cannot just put everything in Hong Kong, nothing in China. I need to have both, and to put a reasonable part of the activity in Hong Kong, one also in China.
So we can say like with all those new the business climate is changing in the benefit of going to China instead of to Hong Kong.
Yes. Although and the role of Hong Kong is changing.
Yeah.
Also, there was had a meeting as a seminar. I attended a seminar 2 days ago as a Hong Kong monetary office, and they speak about the role of Hong Kong in the connection with on the capital market, financial market, and there are a lot of ways to connect Hong Kong and London, etc. All the platform, all the capital market with China. So they have this role, but then the role to have a trading company setting up just in Hong Kong to put the profit in Hong Kong and not in China. I think this is changing.
Okay.
This is changing.
Yeah, it's an interesting change, right? Because for many years it would have been otherwise.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's very interesting. So, just to go further with some China cultural things, because of course the world's changing, business environments are changing. But the culture differences still, and business culture differences will still stay. Like especially in China now, it will be more beneficial to go to China sometimes. So, what are the characteristics of the Chinese way of doing business, from which you think that is key to understand to succeed here, or to at least operate a profitable office here?
Okay, so I think it's difficult question, and there is no.
No, but if you would say 1 point or 2 points.
Yes, of course. I think flexibility is a key point. If you arrive with your business plan and a strict schedule, like you do in Netherlands maybe, and you want to say, okay, I did this, I wrote this down, so it should be done. I think this you will be frustrated because it's not working like this. And on the other way, sometimes you plan, you say, okay, I will do it in 1 year, and then the opportunity comes, you do it in 1 week, or you find the right guy to hire, you hire in 1 day, or you need to be, I think, flexible, and so this is because it's complex environment. Sometimes you don't understand everything. Also, as foreigners, even people speaking good Chinese, it's always sometimes difficult to, even for your Chinese colleagues, different when you say, oh, do you understand what they really want? Is oh, I'm not sure. So I know Dutch are a bit straightforward, and if you just say, okay, tell me yes, no, maybe sometimes you should not be so direct, and waiting for to know more, take time maybe to understand, not to ask for answer in too fast answer. So
flexibility with the business culture.
And flexibility takes time. But then when there is a decision to take, you should not say, oh, I will double check and go back to headquarters, wait for 1 month.
Okay.
This they won't understand, because they say, okay, if you think it's a good opportunity, you need to take decision now.
So you will maybe also lose the chance then. So if you find someone from which you think like, okay, that's maybe a good candidate, then you should actually directly take the action, right?
Yes.
Like going back and then doubting and considering is not really up to here. Okay, that's a good one. This,
I think this is a key point. On the also managing employees in China, I think it's not that maybe different from Europe. So if you come to say, oh, Chinese work till midnight every day, if you have still this, this idea, is yes, some family business, people working crazy, etc., startup, etc. But then when you have workers, you have people in the service field. I think they have same expectation than in Europe. They work hard, they also want some benefits, they want their weekend, they want some vacation. So I think this need to be fair with this.
Yeah.
And then some to manage some area, don't try to make it in your way. Maybe you will have a HR director, a Chinese, doing this, to the gift for Chinese New Year or these kind of things, or the
hongbao,
the hongbao, so the red envelope to give to employee after the Chinese New Year or right before.
So flexible and understand the way how things are done here regarding managing people, so that you will not have a conflict in expectations.
Yes.
Okay.
And don't. I think if you need to tell things, it's not to say. Because you have the losing phase, but we always speak about this, don't say. I think you can say, you need to say, if you never tell people, oh, sorry, you did wrong, it's not good. But you need to find the right way to say it. So
the Chinese way.
Not to, if you fight in front of everyone, then the guy will definitely lose faith. But you can tell one by one, okay, sorry, there is a mistake here. You need to tell, and the person will accept it. And I think
So to get that key understanding of how to do that, and there's certain experience needed indeed.
Yes, but we say also in Europe.
Of
course. If you shout under someone, he won't be happy. So it's the same.
Now in Holland,
it's the same.
No, you cannot do that, of course. But I find it sometimes that I'm a bit direct more often. But what helps with me is I know when I am too direct. So I try to. I understand how it works, but I try to make a way that will mix how I can express myself and in a way that the Chinese would accept how I do it.
Yes, agree.
Okay, perfect. So, can you share an experience of what you, because you have 16 years experience here, it did shape you as a person probably. In certain ways. Is there a certain situation or experience that you face that have influenced you as a person or how you do business here in China?
When I arrived, I was quite young, so I learned a lot because I learned my first my expertise in auditing accounting was learned in Paris, but things was also it was for large companies, so things were quite well prepared, etc. So when you arrive in Chinese business environment, I visit many cities, very far off cities, sometimes in village or with so companies hidden a bit everywhere. So I think this give you quite strong mindset, character, and I think you can then adapt to many things after this. So
do you have an example of a thing that you say like sometimes when I talk to friends at home or my network in France, for example, like I already feel that I'm different here, which is really having an origin from China. Maybe.
Yes, but I think this is true a bit every day, and also that's why I like to be here, because every day you can be surprised by what you see in the street, and so many examples. But when we say, some people say, "Oh, are you integrated or adapted to your in the country?" I think you don't become Chinese because you are your own culture, and also you feel that because you don't read, even if you have good Chinese, you don't read newspaper, you're still a bit different in this country. So I would say don't expect, maybe some manage to do, but to become Chinese or because you live 10 years or 20 years. So I think there's still a cultural difference, which are good.
I find sometimes, to give an example from my side, in my business, the culture here shaped me in a way that because the people dealing in a different way with each other, They talk in a different way to each other, and it has of course an origin. So because they cannot be direct, or because they are focused on a certain, for example, the economic benefit here is quite high, so the moral is maybe less, and maybe it influenced me a bit about, I could set myself a little bit aside and see and analyze what was happening, and could take some experience for myself to improve myself, or to say like, hey, this I can also use in my business, or when I talk to people I have a different opinion also about some things now because of I did that.
Yeah, I think one point is like taking more risk, you know.
Yeah, okay.
I think this I learned. I set up my business, but I don't. Maybe if I started in Europe, I will be still in same kind of company, in my company, etc. So here you are surrounded also by business entrepreneur, Chinese or foreign, and you have in this environment. So for sure, this influenced my life, and also so taking risk is part now of what I like. When you go back to Europe, you're happy to go up and enjoy the environment, the food, etc.
But after a few weeks,
but then you don't have such a quick and fast changing environment. So this, for sure, influence.
So there's a nice bridge to the question. Like, would you have reached the same success? For example, in France, I would not say same success, but would you have been able to take the same opportunities? Of course, we said already there were lots of opportunities here, but in France also everything developed. So if you would advise to other people, like if you want to make some success, maybe you should have a try in China?
I think if I did the same, if I come today in China, same age as when I enter, will be totally different, because the market is more mature, because people, you have also some highly educated manager, Chinese manager, etc. So maybe will be a bit different. Also the environment may be stricter. It used to be more messy, let's say 16 years ago. And then depends on your characters and what you want. I was happy in this, we say, more difficult environment to understand etc. And to help my client to understand it. So I feel this is great, because they did not understand. I understand because I'm here.
Yeah, a market is a market, right? And it's maybe becoming more difficult than 16 years ago or 10 years ago, but it also creates some new chances.
Yes.
Because more regulations is of course creating a bigger service industry. So
yes. But you don't learn, you don't develop an expertise in 1 year. So it's because I saw so many cases, so many issues, so many opportunities, then I can advise, because maybe I saw this 7 years ago, so 10 years ago, and so this is experience. That's why also why I stay here, because I have this. I could say, okay, I go to another country, or but then you lose all this experience. Of course, China also. When you open newspaper, China.
Now, but before, of course, not. So the road to come here it would maybe have not been that easy.
Yes.
So,
So it's still a great area.
Indeed. I think also China offers a lot of opportunities, but it takes a lot from yourself. Flexibility, what we talked about, understanding the Chinese market. That actually, I would ask this question to many people also the way around.
Yes.
If you are able to do business in China, you are, in my eyes, able to do business everywhere in the world. So I think that also, if you have success, what is success? I think success here means that you also would have it, would be able to reach success in your home countries or anywhere else in the world.
Yeah, I believe it's
but some people there are lots of people they question like why I should go to China.
Yes.
And mostly the motivation is, do I have success there? So will I succeed?
But in some case you tell, they ask you, they show you project, you say, I don't recommend you to come, because but that is not strong will.
But that indicates success, because indicating success is also that you can say to not do something.
Yes.
Because financially it seems a good decision, right? Yeah. Okay. Great. And China, of course, China is all the way in the newspapers every day. So how do you think China will develop in the coming 10 years? And how will it eventually? What opportunities will it give to you or to companies in general?
So I think business environment is still very good. Of course, we speak about the slowing down activity.
Yeah.
But we also see that government understand it, react, and inject money and also propose some tax cuts to boost the business. So I think the government is aware of it. So we can still be confident. I believe I'm confident with the economy in the coming 10 years. I think it's still the place to be. Dutch, I think in the design, the huge opportunity because all projects are here in China. Yeah. You have the big cities develop, but you have also second tier, third tier, so many project buildings in Europe. So to see one building in your city, is a big project. Here you have thousands of buildings built. So for architect, for instance, it's design. Companies is huge opportunities. So in this kind of fields, opportunities, high tech, digital environment, also food, all this. I would say, due to the population, is if you can develop the needs of, then it's changing the world. If the Chinese start to use olive oil, and then you have no more. Then you have a shortage of oil in the world, chocolate, or So of course, all consumption products will be in need in China. So I don't mention environment, there are huge needs. A new environmental law, and this also will lead to some needs like equipment to clean water, air, etc. So the companies in the near future will have to be equipped with this to avoid paying very high taxes. So I think this is a key area. You have some European group in this sector, so it can be recycling, but also other equipment to clean the air, to clean the water.
So those developments will be eventually, of course, interesting coming years.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to thank you for this interview. Had a great talk, a lot of interesting subjects, really added value. So thank you for coming.
Thanks for your invitation. Thank you.